Hi, my name is DeVeny. I'm a traditional artisan making functional and decorative items out of natural wood. Everything is made in my home workshop using scroll saws and a bandsaw. I usually have somewhere around 50 to 60 different species of wood. I'm going to give you a tour of the things that I make, show you how they can be useful, and a little bit of fun. The collapsible baskets are a traditional craft form that go back almost 200 years. It's all cut out of a single flat piece of wood. You just fold the handle down, collapses flat, you can use it as a trivet or put it away for storage. You lift up on the handle, it sits on the base, and that holds it all up. Use it for anything that you want to use the basket for. These are 7 inches wide. That's the smallest size. There's a number of other sizes along the side of the display as well. And on the bottom shelf there's stacks of those sizes with many different woods. They all have labels in the bottom to tell you what the wood is and where it's from. They're all the natural color of the wood. And they also have price tags on them. They range in price from around $28 to over $100, depending on the size and the wood. The puzzles are all cut out of a solid block of wood. This type we call the totem puzzle. The pin holds it all together. When you take the pin out, it doesn't just fall apart because everything's interlocking. You have to slide each piece out. When you take it all apart and you mix all the pieces up, many of the pieces are very similar in size and shape. So you start with the bottom piece, may have to try every piece till you find the right one. And because it's hand cut, sometimes they'll go in from one direction and not from the other. So you may have to try them a couple of different ways before you can be sure if they're the right piece. Then when you get it all back together again, that pin goes through 2 pieces, so that's why it locks it in place. The other style I think is more difficult. Once again, it's a solid block of wood, and they're all the natural colors of wood. This type, you have 3 sections that come apart. And each section comes apart, so you end up with 4 pieces that look very much alike, and another 4 pieces that look very much alike. So I think they're much more difficult to do. This style has 4 pieces that look very similar to each other, and another 4 pieces that look very similar to each other. The center section has 4 profiles, 1 in each direction, that correspond to the profiles that are on every other piece. So you have to find which pieces fit on which profile. I believe it's very difficult to visualize how it all goes back together again. The larger ones come in either 16 pieces or 25 pieces. Once again, the more pieces that you have, the more difficult the puzzle. They're all the natural colors of the wood, and depending on the size of the totem puzzles, the bigger they are, the more pieces they have, the more time they take to solve. The trees are cut from a single flat piece of wood. You can take them right out of the base, push on it, and it folds flat. This way it'll actually come apart, but each section has a little bit of a taper to it. So you just push on it in the back, locks into place, and gives you a 3D effect. This one is walnut. They all have labels on the bottom of the base that tell you what the wood is and where it comes from, and they also have price tags on them. They range in price from $15 to about $75, depending on the size and the wood. There's smaller ones that are about 7 inches tall, and the bigger ones are 9 to 10 inches tall. I'll have somewhere around 20 to 30 different species of wood, and some I will have in both large and small, and some I will have in only one size or the other. These are the holiday ornaments. They range in price from $12 down to $2.50, depending on the size and the complexity. And there's a selection of trees and puzzles, and some of the baskets. and some of the different sizes. This is the largest size, and you can see the stacks on the shelf are all different sizes, because the limiting factor as far as how big the basket can be is the width of the board that I have to work with. So especially with exotic woods, it's hard to find wider boards. So whenever I find a wider board, I make a pattern to fit that board. So every one of them comes out a little bit different. And some more of the fancy ornaments. And that's about it. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please ask.